Hello, everybody. Welcome back to our YouTube channel.
Hello.
So we are starting a new segment on this channel, which is going to be sharing the information that we get from our conversations with what we call the Arc9. So Ambrosia, first of all, what does the Arc9 stand for?
So the Arc9 stands for the Arcturians, which are ETs essentially. They are extraterrestrials that live on Arcturus, or used to rather, and they are 9 energies. I've also heard them referred to as the Council of 9.
Yeah.
So it's the same energy. We just like to call them the Arc9.
Yeah, and they're very loving beings. They essentially are here to protect Earth and humanity. And they've been coming through a lot of different people, but specifically they've been coming through Ambrosia here. And we have been channeling them to our audience. And we do this thing every week, actually every Wednesday, called Conversations with Arc9, where we let our Patreon community do private coaching with them. Basically, they get to ask them questions about their life and about the world and about what's going on right now. And so there's a lot of really amazing information that's shared in these sessions. And, you know, without giving away any personal information of anyone in these sessions, just strictly the information that the Arc9 is sharing that we think would be relevant to those of you who are interested in it, we are going to share that with you. Yeah. So just to give you an overview of what this video is going to be about, the topics that we're going to cover in this, we're going to talk about facing your fears, how to move through hard emotions, what to do when someone has wronged you, it's a big one, why all humans are having trouble right now, alien abductions, that's fun. That was just a fun one in there. Expanding your intuitive gifts, and the topic of conflict.
Yes. So if you want to actually see some of these, I do have, I think, 2 or 3 conversations of me trans channeling, which is where I go into a trans state and I allow these beings to speak through me. And you can see it, and I have everybody's permission in the group, so I'm not violating anybody's permission, but it's on my YouTube page if you wanted to go check that out, Ambrosia Matthews. So let's get to the first topic, shall we?
We shall.
So
the first topic is simple. It's face your fears. And what the Arc9 was saying last night is that it's really time for you, all of you watching this, to stop avoiding your fears and face them head on. So this information has been coming through many people, me, Ambrosia, all types of intuitives have been getting this similar information right now. Is you can probably feel it in the air. It's a very intense time and you're probably noticing old fears and issues and stuff maybe you thought you were over, you thought was in the past, coming up again, and it's coming up in a very intense way. And the reason it's coming up is because it's time for you to truly face this once and for all and really look your fears in the face and understand that you are a powerful being and you can get through this and you don't have to run anymore.
And that doesn't mean that it's not going to be uncomfortable. Actually, they said the opposite. A quote, they said, "You will be rejected and look foolish." And that does not mean stop. Yeah. You're trying to avoid feelings of discomfort and you cannot avoid them. So I feel like people forget, or they don't understand, that one of the reasons we decided to be human was for the contrast, was for feeling discomfort, for feeling happy, and all of the contrast that human emotions entail. And so to avoid an outcome or a conversation because you're trying to avoid an emotion is not healthy. It's avoiding who you are, and it's not benefiting anybody like you think it is.
Yeah, absolutely. And for those of you who may have heard that quote and been like, well, that sounds ominous, it's more so just realistic, right? It's just saying, like, yeah, you're gonna fall down. Yeah, you're gonna have an embarrassing moment. Yeah, the fear you have is probably gonna come true in some small way or in some real way, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. And just what Ambi said is, like, so often we hold ourselves back, and you just need to do the thing because that's your destiny. That's your destiny.
Yeah. And it doesn't mean that you have to live in, I personally feel like a lot of people live in fear too often.
Yeah.
They're
true.
uncomfortable. They don't want to leave their job. They don't want to leave their marriage, whatever the case is. They don't want to leave the uncomfortable situation because something else might be worse. But what if it's better?
Yeah.
You know?
Totally. All right.
Second subject.
Second subject. So this is something everyone can probably relate to right now as well, which is how to move through hard emotions.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the thing is that as you're going through these difficult experiences and as your fear is coming up, as Ambi said, what we like to do is we either like to like hide or we try to escape these emotions. We try to escape out of the discomfort. It's like we spend all our energy just trying to get away from it without actually asking ourselves and this part of us, which is uncomfortable, why are you uncomfortable? And they gave us some actual quotes of questions to ask. So discomfort, why are you here? Discomfort, what is your name? Why are you discomfort? What are you trying to show me? And how are you helping me? And
I love
this,
that.
yeah, I mean, it's a way to get to know this part of yourself, right? And this is how the Arc9 says you allow yourself to elevate your vibration to move out of discomfort more quickly.
I really like that because I feel like this goes into like numbing techniques, so if one of the things that's beautiful and uncomfortable and painful about 2020 is there are much less ways to numb out this year. Like
yeah,
it's very
harder.
It's harder to numb out, right? And so as human beings, we're tricky. We're going to find ways to do that. And I am no exception, and neither is Alexa, but we numb out with our cell phones. We numb out with TV. We numb out with drinking, drugs. We numb out with, eating. We can numb out with so many different ways. But I feel like a lot of the time people don't understand that if you just allow yourself to feel uncomfortable, that will actually help you move through the discomfort quicker.
Totally. Yep. If you examine what this is all about, it will allow you to, get out of it sooner. And they also wanted to say, just because you are inviting this emotion in for tea does not mean you are asking this emotion to stay the night. And I think that's very important because oftentimes we're like, no, I don't want to bring this emotion anywhere close to me because I don't want to make it more. Well, you're making it more by trying to avoid it, basically, because there's a message that it has for you that you're not receiving. So it's just getting louder and louder and stronger and stronger. So just know that when you invite it in and you ask it these questions, you're not actually attaching to it more. You're actually allowing yourself to let it go quicker.
Yeah. I feel like it also means don't let yourself stay there. You know what I mean? Like move out of, feel into the discomfort, allow yourself to be uncomfortable, allow yourself to be sad, figure out what's going on. What is this triggering? Why is this happening? Changing the emotion that way, and then moving on, right? So we're not going into like deep depression, right? We're allowing ourselves to go back up. I see kind of like a valley, like whoo, like that.
Yes. Okay. So next topic is when someone has wronged you. And Ambi, is it okay if I just read this quote?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. So this is, all of us are probably experiencing, I've said this for every topic, it's just true. So, all of us probably have had an experience recently of feeling wronged or even feeling wronged, right? So this is what the Arc9 says about that. When someone wrongs you, it is most important how you carry yourself, how you respond with dignity, pride, allowing your true self to come forward. This does not mean being reckless with others' emotions or putting your emotions to the side, or that you allow others to be reckless with yours. But it is time to allow the anger and the hatred to simmer and relax. Do not stoke the fire. If you do not give it oxygen, it will burn
your
out.
Internet's breaking up a bit.
Again, this does not mean ignoring what has happened. Know that nothing will break you. It's okay. I'm the one recording.
Okay.
So I think that's a really, really powerful statement. Because in the end, it really is all about the energy that you carry through the situation, you know, and how you show up and how you feel about you as you're showing up in that situation.
Definitely. Yeah, I agree. And I love the imagery there of the candle being suffocated because it doesn't have any oxygen. It's you're not, or the fire rather. You're not allowed. That's what I saw when I was in trance, candle. But it's right. If you don't stoke it, if you don't give it air, it can't survive. And so it's about saying enough. I'm not gonna tolerate this anymore, but I'm also not going to feed into it either.
Yeah. I'm not going to give it so much of my mental energy or my emotion.
Yeah. And how many times do we give people that have wronged us, I know I do, so much mental space, you know, so much. It can hinder our emotional development. It can hinder our physical development, right? Because I know that when I'm stressed, I don't eat. I have a hard time eating. And it can really change the good relationships that we have. I know a lot of people, I have 3 kids. I know a lot of people that when they're stressed, they snap at their kids, they get upset. And so you don't want, when someone is arguing with you or, you know, just yelling at you or treating you poorly for seemingly no reason, you don't want to spend so much time trying to find the reason, trying to make the situation better. You know, it's more or less letting them go, letting them do their own thing, and letting it simmer down until there's enough space to be able to come back to a neutral point. If that's the most appropriate.
Yes. Space and slowing down. Huge. Okay. So let's see. All humans are having trouble right now. So
This is a big one.
Let me read this again. It is up to you how you choose to spend this time. Despite best efforts, it can be quite difficult to look on the bright side when it appears that there is very little bright side. This is why distraction and play is so important. It is okay to feel as though everything around you is burning, because it is not. It is simply a candle. When you have anxiety, it is important to not worry about how to solve it or what is causing it. Play and find something else to do. Play should be a new form of practice for you, along with other spiritual practices. Playing childish games, video games. Try to discover new forms of play. Many people right now are unable to process, sit with, and acknowledge feelings and acknowledge the emotions that have come up. So many people are angry. Many people are hiding. Many people are blaming. It will not benefit anyone to shout at the sky and plead your case. So many people are yelling at the sky. Let them yell.
I like the last one too.
Yeah.
Someone asked, what if 2 people are fighting and I love them both? And they answered, if there is a fire in another room, it is not your fire.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
So I feel like this is kind of a repeating of everything that we've said, but also adding that play component in there. Like that would be a good distraction method, or a good going back into not living in despair, not living in depression or denial of any kind. But I feel like, and I hear this a lot from spiritual people, that play is so important. But then I don't really know how to play, you know?
Yeah.
So I feel like for me personally, it's easier because I have 3 kids. So I can like literally go play the floor is lava and jump around on the furniture and do all of that stuff. We can go outside and play tag. And I know though that when I have anxiety or I have a situation that's very stressful, my natural tendency is to say, well, I don't have time to play. I don't have time for this. It's childishness, you know? But in fact, from what the Arc9 said last night, is that's exactly what you should do. You should play.
When you need it the most. That's when you need it the most. Because play is a really amazing way to shake up the energy and change up the energy. And I think when you get stuck in this heaviness and this darkness, it's like, what more heaviness isn't going to shake that up. Play and lightness and spontaneity and creativity and making noise, screaming and just being silly, just being embodied. That's going to shake that energy up. And so I loved that they said play should be a new practice for you. Like that should be, I felt like what they were saying is like play should be so important that it's like meditation. You know what I mean?
That's what I saw, like meditating and then playing.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Love that. Okay, let's keep moving. We got a few more to do. So the next one is alien abduction. So this was
goodness. All right, let's go.
This was a fun question that someone asked, and I thought it was interesting, so we'll share this information too. So someone asked, why do aliens abduct people? And they said, the Arc9 said, we do not abduct. We do not abduct. We communicate.
Like Arcturians do not abduct people.
Arcturians specifically do not abduct. They said, we communicate. Have there been abductions in human history? Yes. And why is because it's really, they said, kind of a science experiment, but it's also really information seeking. They said similar to a human being observing an animal, noticing the animal's injured, taking the animal to the clinic, healing them, and then dropping them off, or taking the animal to the clinic and putting a chip in the animal to watch the behaviors of the animal. What does it do? What does it eat? Where does it go? And I think this is pretty consistent with information that I've at least received before about that you've relayed, Ambi, about aliens, that like they're really observing. I remember that one time you were sleeping and you saw the alien in like your room and he was just taking notes.
Oh no, that's something a little different.
Oh,
so okay, so I have a video on this too. It's kind of cool. So I've taught people how to trans channel. And one of the lessons that I did actually is on video, and she started to communicate with these people called these beings called the observers. They are not technically ETs. They are not human. They're nothing. And so what's interesting, I don't know if you guys have ever had this. I know I've had this a lot, where you feel someone and you see them out of the corner of your eye, but you don't get gender. You don't get height. You get nothing. You just see a silhouette of a person, and it's almost like the energy back is, whoop, you saw me, and then they leave. And so we had a conversation with these beings, and essentially what they're doing is they're taking notes, they're observing us, not every human on the planet, but certain humans, and they're tracking how we can raise our vibration at will, how we can lower our vibration at will, what causes these things. And I guess the agreement is that they can't interfere, right? So they didn't give too much information in the interview, but it really is interesting. So
yeah, so cool. I love that. That's awesome. All right, moving along, we got two things left. So one is the topic of expanding your intuitive gifts. So someone asked, how can I expand my intuitive gifts? And what the Arc9 said was this: by understanding how you want them to expand, setting expectations, understanding that comparison is not necessary, and it will actually diminish the belief in your abilities. Meditation is good, but play is better. Finding a group of other human beings that you would like to grow or expand with, practice with them, and have fun. Belief in oneself is the most important when you are to remember what you are capable of. You will have other human beings tell you that you are not accurate, that you are not correct. And if you listen to them, then it will be true. But if you listen to yourself, that is when the magic happens.
I love this.
So sweet. So sweet.
So much.
Totally.
They're always talking about how magical humans are and what we're capable of. And they're always saying, remember who you are. Remember what you're capable of. And in the beginning, they would tell us about how human beings can do wild things that like defy the laws of gravity and all of these things. And so it's really, I think, exciting for them to kind of watch everybody come online and be like, oh, I remember. And also exciting for me and Alexa to be like, this is cool.
Totally. Yeah. And I would very much vouch for the get together in a group thing, because that's how like my abilities have become more online recently. Is I just had people that I felt like was a safe space, that it didn't matter if I got things wrong. We were both exploring and we could just have fun. So I think that's really, really powerful. And even if you just have one friend, like that's enough.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the last thing, which is conflict. Okay, so let's just read this. This is like There is much conflict happening on the planet and in the universe in general, but it is important to remember that conflict is not always negative. Just like anything else, it is both positive and negative, thus creating a neutral point. Many of you are feeling this conflict that is happening outside of your planet, and many of you are reacting in different ways. It is also important to understand to see other human beings with pure eyes. What does that mean? Many of you are experiencing disappointment, anger, sadness, hurt with other human beings. It is also important to understand that they too are feeling these same emotions that you are feeling. That does not make one correct and the other incorrect. There is a great divide that is happening. You'll recall we said it is important to build community, to understand the community you are a part of, to see yourself through others' eyes. This is why this divide is happening not only among humans, but among all. And so, will the divide create differences that cannot be reconciled? No, there is always choice. But it is important for human beings to understand that nothing is permanent, that all beings experience some sort of conflict and emotion. Whether the verbiage is the same is irrelevant. It will pass none the same. And when it does, you will be stronger. We will be stronger. The universe will be stronger. And then there's a last little bit here where they were talking about, growth and how growth is uncomfortable and you're growing into these new versions. And they said, when you are in a version that no longer fits, it is uncomfortable. There is suffocation. So if you are to go outside of the comfort zone and play, you will understand that you can stretch, move, breathe, even twirl, and you will feel much better, much more confident, much more expansive. Beautiful note to end on. And we're almost exactly at the 30-minute mark. Perfect.
That went by fast.
It really does, every time. If you guys want to be a part of these conversations with the Arcturians and ask them your own questions, you can join either our Dragonfly tier on our Patreon or our Cocoon tier on our Patreon, and you will see this beautiful lady channeling the Arcturians. It's quite a sight to see, and we post the recordings of it on our Patreon for you to see. So if you want to check them out, you can do that too. Make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel. Make sure you give this video a like, share it with friends if it helped you, and check out our podcast, Inner Bloom Podcast, on all streaming platforms.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.